Hey, good morning, my friends. Welcome to the 4th hour. It's nice to have a little more time with you this morning. Always appreciate it. Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. That heart down in the corner. Yeah, being able to see the smiley face and oh man, come on. Seriously? You just leave it off of there so we can read what's actually on the chat. Thanks so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. It's great to have you along. So, I wanna, pick up on some new stuff that we have not talked about, follow-ups to stories. Um, the FBI, uh, is having trouble now when it comes to, getting into this encryption on the shooter's, phone. They're having some difficulty with this. And so this is this is Fox News. Revived the argument over whether big tech firms should provide law enforcement with a backdoor method to break their own unbreakable encryption. And here's the thing, and Rand Paul talked about this yesterday on the Clay and Buck show. All you gotta do is if law enforcement wants to get into these, if they're American companies, and I don't know whether or not that's the case. If they're American companies, all you gotta do is get a subpoena and require it. They've gotta turn that information over. So, American companies, if this shooter is working, relying on companies from outside of the United States, foreign entities, um, would that concern you? Um is this just a kid who was out on his own? Or if in fact he's working with another country in, encrypting his information, would that be something that would alarm you? Um, I guess that would be something new. That would be something that we've not seen, I think, up until now. Um, Steve doesn't buy this. Don't buy for a second that they're having trouble getting into the phone. I believe they don't want to get into the phone. That could be very possible. We were talking about this at the final hour of the radio show today. Um, the idea that, the running the federal government by committee, and I honestly so does the committee actually wanna be able to get into the phone, the powers that be, whoever they are? I'm sounding more and more like a conspiracy theorist. I mean, and I recognize that. It's like, but we are finding ourselves, I think, at a point in a time where the pretty incredible things that we're seeing. So I refuse to believe if this guy is, as you and I have been told, if this guy is in fact was a lone operator, a lone gunman, and the FBI is telling Congress, because questioning is ongoing this morning, um, telling Congress that they have every belief, this guy acting on his own, then shouldn't they be able to break into the encryption on his phone? I have real difficulty, like you, Steve, believing that it's that difficult, but that continues to be they have been thwarted by this guy from being able to get into his phone and see who his contacts were and what was going on, and again, I'm just having real trouble buying this. The other big story that we really have not talked about much today, certainly did not on the radio show touched on it. You've got Iran threatening revenge on Israel after, one of the leaders of Hamas was killed, and this is really escalating. This mo Are we getting to a point where, we are going to see more? So I went to the Times of Israel. Now, again, keep in mind that Israel is quite a number of hours ahead of us into Wednesday. So Netanyahu has convened his security cabinet as threats of revenge mount after this killing yesterday. And I wanna click on that story and let's see what's going on here. The, a lot of these are just brief, 6 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, that kind of thing. Hamas claims, um, of, another shooting attack, vowing to carry out more assaults. That was 16 minutes ago. So this is escalating fairly quickly between Israel and Hezbollah. So the chief of the Israeli Defense Forces was hailing the killing of one of the Hezbollah's top military commanders. And so IDF is saying that he is a most senior military official in Hezbollah. He's also very close to the leader of Hezbollah. So there are a lot of things that are happening fairly rapidly over in uh, in the Middle East this morning. Also, top British ministers, excuse me, visit Qatar to push for an end to the Israel-Hamas war. And you've got United States Secretary of State Blinken. They are just absolutely desperate to come to a ceasefire. They want a ceasefire. They want to come to, and it seems like Israel's had enough of this. Again, the most recent bombing that killed like 12 Israeli children and so on. That's the part of the story that does not get told. How horrific these attacks are. And so it's just, oh, Israel will not come to the table. And now they've killed one of the Hezbollah commanders who was part of the team that was negotiating a truce. And I don't think, I mean, if you were Israel, would you want a truce? I mean, look at what's going on. The amount of killing, it just continues. And it's just absolutely incredible. And Israel, we talked about this at length at the time that this most recent conflict began. And Israel made it very, very clear that even when it came to the Biden administration and their really kind of lukewarm response, not willing to be able, not really offer out of one corner of their mouth, yeah, we're giving Israel the tools to be able to do this. And yet, out of the other corner of their mouth, we got to have a ceasefire. Israel's got to stop. You got to stop using these. You've got to stop all this. I wouldn't stop, would you? I mean, seriously, would you want America to stop if this was going on and America was in the midst of this? Would you be calling for America to stop? I wouldn't. Be very much in favor of what's going on. I'm not trying to push America into another war, but this whole ceasefire as to that's the way, the path to de-escalation, that the ceasefire is going to be a path to peace, I think is nonsense. Hezbollah has no intention of peace. They do not want peace. We have never seen, certainly in recent memory, we have not seen a world that is, saying they want peace, but their actions are showing something altogether different. So this continues to be really big events that are transpiring. I'm trying to look for some American reaction here. The German foreign minister calling for restraint in order to avoid further escalation. Again, who's escalating it? Israel's not escalating it. You have another killing where 12 Israeli children get killed, as happened over this past weekend. That's not Israel escalating this. It's Hezbollah. I mean, this is clear as clear to many of us. So the Israeli security cabinet having a meeting underway talking about their responses to the killings, according to an Israeli official. This was about an hour ago. So the forum is expected to discuss potential Hezbollah and Iranian reactions to the assassinations of senior Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. Iran's made it pretty clear where they're at. They're mad as hell at Israel, blaming Israel for all of this. So it just continues to heat up. And I think the question, you've got Joe Biden as president. Where in the hell is Joe Biden? What's his response to all of this? I mean, I understand he's not running for re-election, but now he's just like gone. What do we see from Joe Biden other than, him talking about what he wants to do in terms of Supreme Court justices? Hey, Joe, rest of the world is on fire here. Are you paying attention to what's going on? This administration cannot be over. What was the line from Steve? You're a Star Wars fan. The line from Yoda to Palpatine about and about it coming to an end and or the end of his reign, and not short enough it was, something like that Yoda says. That's kind of what we are seeing here from Biden. His term cannot end soon enough. This is, again, what's the involvement of the U.S.? Secretary Blinken? Where's the president on these issues and what's going on? It's really kind of troubling. And I think his absence, it has just become more and more Kamala now. And of course, the media loves that. It's Kamala, Kamala, Kamala. And the Kamala party continues, and how great things are going, and how Kamala is just going to be wonderful. And where's the president? She's not the president yet. She hasn't won the presidential race yet. Where's Joe Biden at? What's going on? I ask that question every day, and I keep looking. Again, I get on, where's Joe Biden? I'm searching his name. I'm looking for, what's new with Joe Biden? What's happening? Nothing. Nada, nada, nada. Just really kind of troubling stuff. I want to see what some of you are saying here. Yeah, David talking about the response from Iran. How dare you defend yourself after I hit you? Talking about Israel. Yeah, absolutely. Hezbollah and Hamas. That is exactly how dare you respond? We should be able to hit you with impunity, and you should not be able to react. And I feel the Democrat Party is kind of that way too. You respond to the nonsense of the Democrat Party, and it's how dare you strike back at us? Is that a leftist mentality that we can kick on you, pile on you all that we want, but the minute you push back, we're gonna cry foul? Crazy times. Steve said every time Israel is given in to demands from the world for the Palestinians, Hamas and Hezbollah have broken the terms of those conditions. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and not short enough it was. Exactly. That's what I think of Joe Biden's term. Not short enough it was for 4 years. But where is he? Aren't you asking yourself that question? Where is the president? Because, okay, he's not running for re-election. That doesn't mean then you absolutely pull back from the world and you've got a responsibility as president to represent the United States, certainly on the global stage, and you're watching all of this going on over there. And where is he? It's just absolutely incredible. Then there was one other story that I had that I wanted to share. And I'm going to start here. Governor Tim Walz. This is Minnesota's governor, Tim Walz. and this is a story from Fox 9, the that Kamala Harris and her campaign allies have increasingly leaned on a new label for Donald Trump's campaign that was sparked by a viral comment made by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. The new attack line was during an interview on MSNBC, and Walz said, talking about weird, Donald Trump and weird, using that term weird to describe Donald Trump. And Walz said, "We do not like what has happened where you can't even go to Thanksgiving dinner with your uncle because you end up in some weird fight that is unnecessary." Well, it's true. These guys are just weird, he said. And then on MSNBC that evening, he said, "These are weird people on the other side. They want to take books away. They want to be in your exam room. These are weird people." And so now apparently the campaign of Kamala Harris wants to click on or wants to grab a hold of that word weird. So let's count how many times we hear in coming days them referring to Donald Trump as weird. And seriously, you want to talk weird? I mean, and I heard this from one of the Trump campaign spokes people earlier this morning on the Fox News Rundown. We run the Fox News Rundown just prior to my show on KELO each morning. And on the Fox News Rundown, they're like, "You want to get in a contest of weird? Okay. You want to talk about Kamala and her word salads? I mean, seriously, you want to talk about weird? That's not weird, but Donald Trump somehow is weird. Um, that's just nonsense. Look at the seriously, all of it. And I'm not saying we should get into a thing about who's more weird. Is it, the Kamala Harris and the Democrats, or is it Donald Trump and the Republicans? Who's more weird? It's like, seriously, that's what this presidential race has become. What about the border? What about the economy? What about that assassination attempt on Donald Trump? The inability of Secret Service to defend the president? All of these. What about all of this? You got this stuff. The world is certainly the world in America is on fire. Got America on fire. All of this stuff going on. And they want to talk about weird. Give me a freaking break, right? Give me a break. I am concerned about, honestly, more serious issues. I am concerned about the border and all of these people who have come into the country. Are we ever going to be able to get rid of them? I mean, seriously, I'm not talking about people who want to enter the country lawfully. That's not who I'm reacting to. I'm talking about the people who have come into the country illegally by design. How do we get them? Will we ever get them out of the country? Or has America now forever been changed because of what Joe Biden has done on the border and then lied about it consistently, constantly, lie after lie after lie? And Kamala Harris bears the legacy of that. She's the vice president, for heaven's sakes. She was supposed to be, the president's point person on the border. Where is the conversation about these things? And the media is just, again, go to Axios and have a laugh today. Take a look at all the stories. There are big stories they're moving today on Axios and every day. Since Kamala became the president resigned. Okay, Joe's gone. Now it's Kamala. Now it's become like the Kamala show. And it's just like, wow, man, you people are just absolutely, I mean, it's incredible. And I'm not trying to elevate myself here. not at all. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm totally aware that I'm a guy on the radio in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm not somebody who's got a nationwide audience, or I'm just I really I consider myself, I get done every day, go home and I'm just, but for heaven's sakes, I can see these things. And I had a conversation with um, somebody in our company the other day, and I was saying, I'm not a prognosticator. I'm not somebody who can look forward and be able to see events before they unfold, right? I'm not one of those people that I can say, okay, now watch for this to happen, and then watch for this to happen. There are some who have that ability. I'm not one of those people. I'm not gifted in that regard. But I can see what's in front of my face, for God's sake. I can see what's right here. I'm not stupid. Don't treat me as stupid. And the legacy media and what they're doing, it's just like, wow, absolutely incredible. And I worry, just very candidly, I worry about my kids and my grandkids. I've said this on the air before too, but I do worry about my kids and my grandkids, about the country that we're leaving for them. Um, and then, part of me says, okay, I got to ratchet that down. And Steve, you and I shared emails this morning, and I kind of said that, and I have said on the air, and I really do believe this. And I think I said this morning, you know, bad things happen and I get frustrated. And so I will go out and there are certain charitable causes I give to. And I said, I'm quickly getting to a point. I got no more money left to give. I get so frustrated that I go give money to a cause that's going to make me feel great about our community. And I know they're going to be doing good work in the community. But man, I get so frustrated anymore. I don't have any more money to give. I'm going to have to start selling my Batman collection in order to start funding that. Um, it's we just live in a- absolute crazy times. And now again, overall, uh, I do try to put things in perspective that w- our lives have been pretty soft. My life has been really soft. I would just tell you that very honestly. Growing up here in Sioux Falls in the Midwest, and yeah, people who generally are very kind, um, polite people, except when they're on the roads, I guess these days. But they're very kind. They're pleasant people. But our lives have been pretty soft. The country's not been seriously at war. Um, with the exception of the Iraq War, I think, and that was over almost before it began. The United States went in, and you had leaders in the military that they're not going to fool around, because one of the primary goals of war is to end your enemy's ability to be able to make war. You want to destroy their ability to be able to make war. And by doing so, it means war's over. And we saw that happen in the 1990s, Um, the Schwarzkopf, General Schwarzkopf, I just thought was absolutely incredible. Those guys, man, we're going in, we're taking care of business. And you wish the Secret Service had that same kind of mentality. You know, we're going in, we're taking care of business, bam, and that's what we're doing. Um, but we've led I have led a pretty soft life. I mean, my life has been great. Have I had challenges? Yeah, we all do and will. Um, but I'm at a point in my life, my kids are grown, so I don't have kids at home anymore. The There's a lot of challenges that go along with child rearing and that kind of thing. So I'm beyond that. Now I'm a grandfather and I have 2 grandchildren. Um, and see our family growing. Um, so generally a lot of happiness with that. But I think we've got to have that ability to put things in perspective. That look at what's I was just talking about the news from Israel. How would you like to be in the middle of that right now? What's going on over in Israel? And I mean, because that's war. They've got children being killed over there. 12 children killed over the weekend. Um, would you like to see those kinds of things happening? So as frustrated as I get, because I get pretty frustrated at times, I have to remind myself, take it easy, calm down. Your life is good. Life in America is as messed up as it is, and it is. I mean, it's incredibly messed up, but as messed up as it is, still better than what's going on over in the Middle East right now, right? It's and you look back to World War II when Americans had to make real sacrifices, during World War II. You had men, the men were everybody, every able-bodied man who could fight was overseas. Um, either in the um, Pacific theater or they were over in the European theater. I had, in fact, my dad had a couple of uncles. One, it was exactly that. One was over in Germany, and the other was in the Pacific. During World War II, twin brothers, both defending their country. Think of those times. Think of the Civil War and time. What that must have been like. Literally, brother against brother, family against family during the Civil War. So I think the challenge for me certainly has been to try to kind of calm down, put things in perspective. Yeah, things are messed up. No question about that. Things are messed up, but take a breath, calm down and stop. And we lack ability, I think, some to be able to do that. And again, I understand that because I have a tendency I lose my cool. And I've always been that way. I've very been a very impatient kind of person. And but when it comes to these things, you and we don't have the ability to change them, unfortunately. We don't have the ability to change them because if we could change what's going on, for instance, with the Secret Service, I'd change it right now. I think, as I said on the air this morning, I think you've got a number of people in leadership, they've got to go. That agency needs a thorough cleaning. We're not just talking about a new director. You're talking about people at the upper tier of upper level management have got to go in the Secret Service. And as I said, makes you wonder how many other federal agencies is that kind of stuff going on? Well, we don't know. The buck stops with me. Kimberly Cheadle told us the buck stops with me. Well, it's very, very clear to me, and I'm not in Congress listening to all of this testimony, but I have heard enough testimony to know the buck never stopped with her. Nor does it stop with this new director. Steve, you watched the testimony yesterday. And I really, your email made me laugh. I love sharing it on the air, but you watched the testimony yesterday. I wonder if the reason he is unable to say these are the people that are responsible is because that's not how they operate. They operate by committee, you know? They operate by committee. You've got a committee of people who are there and, okay, the consensus of the committee is this, and therefore that's what we do. And You need a strong leader in charge, and Secret Service clearly doesn't have that. So then you wonder, does any other federal department have clear leadership in charge, or is it all run by committee? I think that's a question that's certainly it's very much on my mind as we look at current events right now. He's Steve. He's saving our democracy. We shouldn't question him. They've switched to using weird because Nazi and fascist don't work anymore. Yeah, weird. Again, if it's a weird contest, Kamala Harris hands down wins. Those word salads that she comes up with, and I've been waiting for the Kamala Harris word salads. I mean, can you imagine a debate with Kamala Harris where she starts serving up those word salads? Um, wow, bring it on. And and Donald Trump at the debate with Joe Biden's, his reaction to one of Biden's questions was, "Yeah, I'm not sure what he said just now. I'm not sure what that just was, but you know, I feel that way every time Kamala Harris opens her mouth. It's like, what? I mean, so I think we are going to see the media trying to polish Kamala Harris. Are we going to see the same kind of word salads as she's out? It'll I've not seen any here recently, but again, I think that may be in part because I've got to say this presidential contest and this, the media is just fixated on the issue of, so who's the running mate gonna be? Who's the vice presidential running mate gonna be? The media is just obsessed on this, and it was the same thing with Trump. And I said this on the air that I said, what's with all of this hysteria over who Donald? This is before he named J.D. Vance, who Donald Trump's running mate is going to be. He announces it when he announces it. Again, I'm concerned about the border. I'm concerned about the economy. I'm concerned about what's going on in the Secret Service. I'm concerned with much, much greater problems than who the vice presidential candidate is going to be. But what is the legacy media focused on today? Kamala Harris. Okay, coming up next Tuesday, she's going to name her vice presidential candidate, and then the two of them are going to go out in a series of cities, and here are the cities, blah, 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 where they're going to be going together. Who the hell cares? I mean, seriously, who cares? The media cares. It's just like, oh man, it's nonsense. All right. Oh my gosh, we've gone 30 minutes again this morning. So let's call it quits. I'm glad you joined me for the fourth hour. Um, David, yeah, Patton, and I love George Patton. George Patton, who said, "You don't win a war by dying for your country. You make the other son of a bitch die for his country." Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm a big fan of George Patton's, and I have read books about him and things, his writings. I have watched videos on George Patton. I'm just fascinated with him. And again, he was a guy, he didn't mess around. His mouth got him into trouble. What does that remind you of, right? It reminds you of Trump. His mouth's always getting him into trouble. George Patton was the same way. You had the Allied commanders. Oh, George, you can't do that. You can't say that. Oh, man. The Allies are all upset now. It's the world. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Thank you so much, my friend, for letting me, join you this morning. Please give this video a thumbs up. I appreciate makes a difference, and more of you are doing that. Hit the like button. Thanks so much. Take care. Have a great Wednesday. So long until tomorrow, and then it'll be back into bizarro world again. So long until then, and may God bless.